Man, I have the biggest chip on my shoulder, the biggest chip on both shoulders, coming back with a vengeance, refilled with that hunger that I had in the beginning of the sport to prove to people what I was capable of. The lion lost. I retreated back into the jungle. I took notes of everything. I got better. I trained. And now this lion is going to come out and maul this dude. And he's going to have to pay. He's going to have to pay for all this hard work, all the sacrifice I've made in this camp. And I promise I'm going to be the first person to stop him on August 5th.
Knockout of Nate Diaz.
100%. He's going to sleep.
You got a round. I know in the past you've had a second round, fourth round. You know, when do you feel it's going to happen?
You know, I've put a lot of pressure on myself in the past to execute these at certain times. I'm just going to go in there, have fun, box, and dance around, and it'll come if I'm doing that, if I'm having fun, if I'm in my rhythm. And that's when the knockout comes versus like trying to force it.
I've always thought about that. If you're like in the third round and you say, oh shit, I said I got to knock him out here. So let me try and put this guy down, so that you're cognizant of that during the fight.
100%. And even your friends, like, you know, saying stuff to you or their predictions, or if your coach is like, oh, I think it's going to be in the fourth. And then, you're in the corner after the fourth and you didn't do it. You're kind of like, damn, like what's going on? So we're kind of taking away some of that pressure for this fight. And my main goal is to have fun. And I think I lost that in the previous camps. It felt very monotonous and my why wasn't as strong. So I have that hunger back and that drive, and that makes a world of difference when you're participating in the hardest sport in the world and showing up every single day, twice a day, and giving your 100% effort.
What made you realize that? Was it just realizing that, hey, I got used to winning and losing sucks, and I don't want to feel that again, despite obviously getting these massive paychecks and all that good stuff?
Well, exactly. I took the L and I didn't like that feeling, and I know I'm capable of better. I wasn't at my best.
Yeah.
And so not only do I want the rematch with Tommy and to come back and avenge that loss, knowing I wasn't at my best, but it reinstilled this hunger, because when people doubt me, that's when I'm at my best. When people put me into this corner, when people critique me and say all of these things about me, or say that I can't accomplish something, that's when I come back and do it. And so I use all of that as fuel, and it's made me a better person, a better fighter. And that's why I'm grateful for the loss. I'm glad I lost, because now I'm a different person. I'm a different fighter, and an even better one on both sides of the coin.
We know Nate is a unique guy, kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. Doing these triathlons so close to your fight, that takes it's got to take something out of you physically. Is he making a mistake? Do you believe that? I know he said the right things, but do you think that Nate Diaz is taking you too lightly?
No, not at all. I think he's taking me more seriously than any of his opponents, because losing to me would be the worst loss of his career. And he's always done these triathlons in the buildups to his fights, and that's what's gotten him in great shape. And I don't know the exact, mileage of triathlons, but it's like, regardless, you're pretty much doing triathlons every week in training. I ran 5 miles today. I'm swimming tomorrow, or the next day I'm biking. I'm doing all these bike tests and all these things. So we're pretty much doing triathlons anyways.
That's pretty funny and pretty crazy. It shows how hard the training is. You are a pretty heavy favorite, Jake. Last I looked, something like minus 350, minus 360. Pretty nuts, right? Against a guy who is thought of as one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. You only in the sport still, as much as you've accomplished, only a few years. Could you ever believe that you're about to fight Nate Diaz, main event in Texas? Everyone's talking about the fight, and you are an overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to me. And I think people talk a lot about my skill, but then the odds come out and, that it reflects differently than how they talk about my skill. But I remember, watching Nate Diaz on the couch with my dad as, a 16, 15-year-old, never thinking I was going to fight in my life. And here we are, years later, putting on a massive event, and it's just really cool.
What's the plan? Have you planned out after, Jake? Where do you see yourself going after Nate, or is that something that's not even on your mind right now?
It's not really on my mind. I want to get through August 5th. Obviously, I want the Tommy rematch. There's KSI. Of course, more and more names are going to pop up as I move up with my skill. But we're just going to take care of Nate on August 5th, tuck him in real nice, put him to sleep, and see what happens after that.
Aside from what you have going on with Nate, obviously you've got most valuable promotions and you've got most valuable prospects. And look, Ashton, he is one of the best young fighters in the game. Now, Nestor Bravo, Will Madera fighting each other, two real solid prospects. Talk to me about that, Jake. It's not just about you. It's obviously you've got these young fighters now under your umbrella, and you guys are all rising together.
No, 100%. My goal coming into this sport was always to bring fighters up underneath me, to make the sport a better place, to get fighters paydays, to put spotlight on these amazing fighters who need the marketing. Boxing was a dying sport. The promoters were old and didn't know how to get in touch with the modern day audience. And so I've always wanted to help these fighters, grow these fighters. And August 5th is another opportunity for Ashton to shine. Shadeja Green is fighting. Amanda Serrano is fighting. The full Most Valuable Promotions team is fighting, which is really exciting. And we're just doing boxing differently, and we want to make boxing great again.
If Nate Diaz is watching this, any message, anything you have to say to him?
No, man. I'm going to let my actions do the talking. And when he gets in there with me and he sees my speed, my power, my skill, and he can't hit me, that is going to frustrate him. And in that moment, he'll know that he fucked up and that he's about to get embarrassed, and that there's a difference between a UFC champion and a boxer, a very skilled boxer, and myself. And my fists are going to do all the talking.